Good afternoon and welcome to PRTV Spurs, your channel for all Spurs related, whether it's games, reactions, match day previews. You've got it covered and we're here to send it all out to you. It is Monday night, 8 p.m. kickoff tonight. Tottenham Hotspur versus Nottingham Forest. NUNO Hood and his merry men from the Forest of Nottingham are coming in to play Tottenham Hotspur, and let's get the preview show on the road. I've got my own merry man from Nottingham. Whether he's from the Forest, I don't know, but it's Sam, Spurs for life. Good afternoon, Sam. How are you?
Good afternoon. Happy Easter to all watching and those not watching. Yeah, all good, thank you. Not too bad at all.
Good.
In my dressing gown because lazy day.
It's bank holiday Monday. You're allowed to do that, lads. You're allowed to do that. So, massive night on Thursday night. We qualified for the semi-finals. It is how it works out, whether people were happy with it or not. It was what it was. And we're in the semi-finals. So, that's out of the way now. And we go back to the bread and butter, as they call it. Bread and butter. We're back in the Premier League, where our form is absolutely shit, and we're playing Nottingham Forest, and Mr. Nuno Espirito Santo comes to Tottenham, riding fifth in the Premier League, and he will want to do a job over Spurs today. Spurs will be happy today after what happened on Thursday. They've had a couple of days. I think they had Friday off, he said, and they've had Saturday, Sunday to train. Back today. What's the mood going to be like today? Are they going to be up for it, Sam?
You would think that there would be some sort of confidence they having now got through to a semi-final. Again, we could go into the details of the game, not into too much detail, but yeah, we rode our luck a bit. We got the result. We played in a much more different way in terms of the defending side of things. We defended well to earn the result at Frankfurt, which was a surprise to many people, including myself. I've got doubts, though, about the rotational, whether or not we can rotate, because, okay, we haven't got this cup game until the 1st of May, I believe the first leg is, which is not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, and I don't think we've got a game after today until then. So there is plenty of opportunity for players to rest, even if the ones that are going to be starting that game start today. But as we've seen yesterday, yeah, it was with the likes of Saka getting that challenge, potentially getting him, close to an injury. We can't afford that with certain players, particularly, as I said, with our defence. So I don't know what team he puts out tonight, whether or not they are going to be full strength, mix and match, because the last time we made 6 changes, it didn't seem to work out for that Wolves game. So, yeah, it's so much riding on what team is selected tonight, Sid.
Yeah, you know what? That's what it is. He's already said that there's no Maddison today and there's no Son. Son's still out. Maddison's not going to recover in time. He says, apart from that, the rest were fit and they came through Thursday's game. So it's like you said.
Odegaard isn't fit because he hasn't featured the last couple of games.
But he was on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't think he came on, though, did he?
He didn't come on. He was on the bench. Yeah. So,
and if you remember what was said about the mole, that's what started all this about mole, the Odegaard situation, when somebody was saying that he might be a bit more injured than ANGE actually let on. So it'll be interesting to see whether he starts tonight, because if he doesn't, then he has got an injury, because there's no reason for him not to start today.
100%. So Nuno comes to Spurs, riding high with Nottingham Forest, playing some really good football. And I'm sure after Villa winning yesterday, he will want to get 3 points on the board. So there's going to be no sympathy coming towards Spurs at all. He's coming here and his players are coming to get 3 points. End all, be all. That's all they're bothered about. So as we then go into it, the season so far then, let's have a look. Head to head, 15 meetings between Spurs and Forest. And Sam, it's equal, 7-7, 4-4, 3-3. 7 wins each for both the clubs. 4 home wins for Forest, and they've won 3 away from home. We've won 3 away from home, and it's a 1 draw. Nothing to say, nothing to call here. It's all even Stevens.
It is even Stevens, but again, a lot of that history goes back beyond a couple of seasons, because obviously Forest have only been in the Premier League for a couple of seasons, and a lot of them go back to when they were last in there. So again, it might be when we look at the last 5 results against them, it might give us a little bit more indication of what we could expect.
Talking of which, the last 5 results: 26th of December 24, Forest 1, Spurs 0. April 24, Spurs 3, Forest 1. 15th of December 23, Forest 0, Spurs 2. 11th of March 2023, Spurs 3, Forest 1. 28th of... I'm muting myself here. 28th of August 2022, Forest 0, Spurs 2. So we've got... It's weird, Sam. They've beaten us 1-0 the last game. After that, we've won 3-1, 0-2, 3-1, 0-2. So we've won 2-0 at their place twice, and we've beaten them 3-1 at our place twice. And the only deficit was last season at Boxing Day when they beat us 1-0 at the City Ground. Yeah,
so the 2 results from December 2023 at ANGE, and the April one is again ANGE result. So he did double over Forest in his first season.
Yeah.
But then we've got the 26th of December, see a few months ago, where we lost 1-0 to Forest. I don't suspect Forest will play any differently, even though they need a result in terms of a win today. I don't think they're going to set up any differently than pretty much a NUNO. Let's make sure they don't score and we'll nick one on the break. We've got the potential in terms of the players in the wide areas and the goal scorer in Chris Woods that we could nick an opportunity. And I suspect that that's probably the game plan from them. Yeah. It will be interesting, though, to see how we perform from our game plan. Are we going to see, being at home, Spurs go for it? Because obviously the results yesterday puts us in a not too favourable position in the league at the moment. And it's bad when you look at it. And again, all the euphoria over Thursday, if we don't get a win today, I think that sets you back. It does, because the pressure then heaps again more so on the result next week.
Listen, it's a good job. It's not like the Championship where 15 teams can go up and 15 teams can go down up until the last game of the season. It's game. They've got 3 games left and everything to play for. We're lucky in a sense where technically now we're safe. We're safe. However, a lot of people did say at the beginning of the season, and I think you being one of them, I don't care if we finish 17th as long as we win a cup.
Yeah,
that could materialize. That could. However, However, I don't care if we win the cup or not. I won't be happy finishing 17th. I'm sorry, but a trophy is a trophy. But to finish 17th in the league, that just means to me that we've survived by the skin of our teeth.
Sure. And when I made that statement, and I've done it, I've said it many times, not even just this season, seasons before, it was almost a cry of, well, we have to win something.
Yeah.
I generally said it with a view that if that was to happen, I would take it. Not really thinking in my head that would ever be the case. I didn't ever think we'd finish a season in the Premier League 17th and win a trophy. Those two things didn't seem logical to me. Because if you're playing well enough to win a trophy, surely, and then unless you take Wigan as an example, when they went down after winning the FA Cup, you should be half decent or halfway decent in the league. Not to say we're going to be top 4, top 2, top 5, but certainly top 8.
Top 8, yeah.
So when I said that statement, it was a matter of fact. I would take that because that means we won a trophy and we would still be in the Premier League. But any other league season, and we'd be in doo-doo right now.
I'm telling you now. I'm 100%. So 4 wins out of the last 5. 2 hot home, 2 away. Right. This is the league form then. Last 5 games, Sam. As you can see, we got beat by Wolves 4-2. 3-1 beat Southampton. Lost to Chelsea 1-0, lost to Fulham 2-0, and we drew with Bournemouth 2-2 at home. They've won 3 of their last 5. They've lost 2 on the bounce, 1-0 at home to Everton. They lost 2-1 away to Villa, Champions League fight off. And then they beat Man United 1-0, beat Ipswich 4-2, and they beat Manchester City 1-0. So they've got 3 wins, 2 losses. We've got 1 win and 3 losses and a draw in our last 5 games. And Forest are one of these teams where they're going to thrive, absolutely thrive on how we play. Because if our wing backs go MIA, then Ilanga, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs, and Chris Woods are going to have an absolute field day.
Yeah. Forest were on a pretty decent run before the 2 losses, but the 2 losses that they've had in terms of Aston Villa and Everton. Well, Aston Villa won 5 games on the trot, so I can't put too much past that in terms of a form for a team. They've been playing Champions League and they're still top 5 hunting in Aston Villa. Everton, another team, again, showed a bit of form. Davy Moyes is in charge now. So again, losing to them is not the biggest crime in the world. They'd obviously lost at home, but look at our form. The only team that we've beaten in the last 5 games is Southampton, who were relegated probably last season. That's how bad that they've been. They were relegated before even they came up to the league. So we can't look at anything in that and say, we won a game against Southampton. This is going to be a real tough evening for us. It's going to be a real tough game because, as I said to you before, there's a couple of things in. And Nuno's going to have to, he's going to want to get Tottenham. He's going to want to get Nottingham Forest back into that Champions League mix. He's going to want to prove something to the fans of Spurs to say, well, you know what I mean? You've got this manager who's now 17th. He sacked me after 15 games, whatever it is. And look where I am. And look at the teams that he's beaten this season as well. Look at the form that they've got with the players that they've got. So there's a lot at stake here. And it is really going to come down to who wants it more. If you look at the history of what we've done post games on a Thursday, it hasn't been good. But usually that's a Sunday we play. We've got 1 extra day's rest here. Let's see if that makes a difference.
100%. And I mean, obviously, like last right. So this is how it works at the moment. Then Spurs have won 11 in the league. Nottingham Forest have won 17. Spurs have lost 17. They've only lost 9 games. We've drawn 4. They've drawn 6. 1.88 average goals we're scoring. They're scoring 1.59. Average goals conceded 1.53. They're conceding 1.19, Sam. Clean sheet 6 for Spurs, 13 for Nuno, obviously being a goalkeeper and that. And then you've got the chances created 2.09 for Spurs, 1.56. So we're creating more chances. We're conceding more than them and we're scoring more than them, but we're still miles behind.
If I've got my memory serving me correctly, I think they're on the same goal difference as us, plus 13. We're around about that sort of same goal difference.
Nottingham Forest have got 13 plus Tottenham have got 11.
So they're a couple of goals more than us in terms of the goal difference.
Yeah.
And that's an obvious statement now in terms of how that's made is the clean sheets. The clean sheets is why Forest are where they are. If you look at the average goals scored per match, people are saying, we've scored loads of goals this season. Well, they're not that much further behind than us. If you look at the average goals scored, the average goals conceded, though, for a team of our ilk and the clean sheets, we can't compare. They've got double the amount of clean sheets as us. They're keeping closer to 1 in terms of the goals conceded per match, as opposed to us, we're closer, I guess, to 2 than we are to 1. So put those factors into perspective. I don't think it's going to be a game of high scoring or even a lot of chances. I think it's going to be relatively low amount of chances. And I think whoever... Yeah, the reason I say that is because I don't think Forest are going to go for it. I really don't. I can't see them. They don't need to win this game. This is a game
Sam, let me stop you right there.
Sorry, go on.
Shall I tell you why? Shall I tell you why you're wrong there? Right, and let me tell you now. Aston Villa are 7th on 57 points.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest are 6th on 57. Chelsea are 5th on 57. Manchester City are 4th on 58. Newcastle are 3rd on 59. Nottingham Forest win today, they go 3rd, Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. It's a real big,
It's a massive game for them.
a massive game for them. It's a fillet that they would like to take if they can. However, it's a game in hand that they've got, obviously, because they haven't played this weekend and they're still in and around the same points as those that are chasing. So if I'm looking at it from a right, do we go for it and potentially lose this game, or do we play like how we've been playing for most of the season? Operating with the players that we've got, particularly away from home. You've got to think that they're away from home, and this is Forest I'm referring to, obviously. If they again, and that all goes back to my thing about the first goal and whoever can get into halftime leading and all the rest of it. If Forest can keep this tight, who's likely to get on the case of the players? It's going to be the fans of ours getting onto because we need to get a result. We need to start seeing more in the Premier League. That's when I think, if we make too many changes, that pressure is going to start to occur. Ange may not make the same decisions. It's not going to be the same game we played against Frankfurt. You're expected to be on the front foot, which plays in all of Forest's hands. And that's why I don't think it's going to be a game with too many chances. I think it's going to be a lot of possession for us. Forest are going to be compact and they're going to try to take us on the break. Now, whether or not they get loads of opportunities on the counter-attack, that's there to be. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be a basketball game. I really don't.
I beg to differ. I think Hudson-Odoi and Elanga. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, I think, are going to have a field day today. They're going to, and with Morgan Gibbs in the middle. Like I said, it depends on what team we put out. But I think they'll probably have an inkling and they'll probably realise that, you know what, we can get at them. If especially if our wing backs go missing. And Elanga and Hudson-Odoi will have the freedom of that stadium tonight. But you might be right. I might be wrong. Who knows?
We don't know. And this is the problem that we've got with Spurs at the moment. We've seen a different type of performance to get the result against Frankfurt. Now, we were on the back foot. Whether we were forced to do that, whether it was by design, there's probably a bit of both in there. Certainly when we had the lead and we took the lead, it was more by design. Because obviously when Ange brings on another centre-back and goes 5 at the back, that's definitely departing from what he's done previously. So he was looking at and desperate times to bring desperate measures for anybody under pressure like that, which he was. Now, post-match, it almost seems like that kind of like, I hate to use the word, but that arrogance kind of come back about it. It's almost like, yeah, well, you know, we ain't too often in semi-finals and I've got he's in the second, you know, and that's all fine. That's all well and good. But how can you back this last game up against a team? You've had one extra day now. Yeah. You've got all the players back, bar Son, bar Madison. Yeah. Got Kulu back. We've talked about Odebert before. Mickey van der Ven, who said in an interview that he doesn't know why he's not playing every week. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing again. There's no reason why Romero shouldn't play. And the players have come off the back of a victory to get him into the semi-final of the Europa. All the signs lead to us playing well. But the pressure, if you make them changes, that pressure for those players coming in is high, in my opinion.
So yesterday, team, obviously, in terms of the team use, we've already mentioned it. He said Son's not available yet, and Madison obviously still not 100%. So it'll be interesting. And on that basis, Sam, this is what I believe. Let's see what Michael Green just said. Basically, I choose Lifestone saying here, creating more chances means diddly squat if you don't take them. Everybody knows Forest play on the counter attack. Goals count, not possession. And that's exactly. It does, and that's what they'll probably do. Right. So this is my prediction, and I'll see what you think. But this is what I think the team's going to be for today.
Sid's predicted lineup.
So I've gone with Vicario in goal, Sam. Pedro Porro at right back. I'm sticking with Romero and Mickey van der Ven as the 2 centre-backs. I think Jed Spence will come in today just to give him a bit of a game. Midfielders, I'm going with Bentancur, Lucas Bergwall, and because Madison's injured, I've gone with Kulusevski. I'm taking a punt on Wilson Odobard starting today with Matthias Tell on the left, and I've gone with Richarlison up top. I'm going to give Solanke a rest today because he's been doing a lot of work. So this is my lineup for today. That's
okay.
Yeah. That's what I think, because obviously the back five, Destiny had a wicked game on Thursday, so I just rest him, give him a little bit of bite, bring Spence in to keep him Forest at bay. Maddison obviously is injured, so Kulu comes in. Tell keeps his place. Wilson Udobert for me, because Johnson did nothing on Thursday, so I'm bringing him in to get more match fitness. And I think Solanke, I'd rest him today and just put on Richarlison because he scored as well. So last week.
Okay. Well, I think goalkeeper is obvious. I think the back two should be obvious in terms of the centre backs.
Yeah.
I personally think that Porro might be the one to make way for Spence and Udogie plays. And the reason I say that is we know, and hopefully Anne should know, in terms of Forest and their strengths are in those wide areas and pace and attacking.
Yeah.
So if you've got two of your quicker, stronger players in that area, particularly in Spence and Udogie did play well against Frankfurt and looking like he's getting somewhere closer to what we've expected from him. But again, that was based on the way we played, having more of an intact back four, not being inverted, not being so high up, not, just throwing yourselves forward and trying to, he played a bit more of a disciplined game. I do think we're going to have to be more disciplined in how we perform. We are going to have more of the ball, but you don't need to have everybody forward. And I think with Porro, unless he's given them instructions, I think he finds himself up front and not as good a recovery. So I think the change could be Spence at right back, Udogie at left back. The back five will then be the same as that. Go on.
I was thinking that exactly the same, Sam, but I just thought I'd just give Udogie a rest and keep Porro in there. But I was thinking the same. I was going to put Spence right and Udogie at left back, but
to me it makes sense because you're asking Spence to play on the left side. Now we know he can do, but that was more of an emergency type of thing. He's not really a left-sided player. He is more comfortable on the right, and I think Porro, being the person that is probably the least, what strength, the least aggressive in terms of that position from the three centre backs, three fullbacks we talked about. I think
you might even go with Gray, Sam. You might even go with Gray at right back.
I think, me personally, now this is the great thing that I've spoken about, and I've spoken about it for months. Why are we continuing to play Gray there now? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
These are now the opportunities to see. Let's say, for instance, we get an injury to a Bentancur, and let's say Maddison doesn't recover or whatever happens, and Kulu's not quite. We are going to need another midfielder because I don't think Basuma is at the races. I think Sarr is limited what he can do. That means we're just down to Bergville. The player that has performed well when he's been put into situation has been great. He's played left back, he's played centre back, he's played right back. Yeah. On the occasion, he's played midfield, but he hasn't been given an opportunity to start in midfield. Now, what better opportunity than being a home game against a team who I don't think is going to outplay us in midfield? They're going to outbattle us potentially if the ball goes in there because they've got some players who like to throw it around a bit. And Morgan Gibbs-White, he's on a bit of a he's in form for them. Yeah. Why not give him a chance? A home game. When is the next time you're going to have that opportunity before the next time we play? There isn't one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm just thinking logic. I'm just thinking logically here. We're not going down, right? So again, the pressure is going to be ramping up on Ange if you finish 17th, all the rest. But that's not going to change the fact that we're still in the semi-final. So whether we win, lose, or draw today has no bearing on the Premier League for us. It might have a bearing on motivation. It might have a bearing on confidence. But I want to see this guy at midfield because he can't be any worse than some of the players that we've seen from Basuma and Sarr this season, surely.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. In terms of your midfield, in terms of my midfield, obviously I've gone with these three.
I think it will be that midfield three. If I'm honest with you, that's what I think it will be.
I don't know what's happened here. I've lost my team. Where are we? Okay. Yeah, so I can't see any other midfield three. Front three.
Only thing I probably could change. I think Ange wants Dominic Solanke to score more goals. The penalty, yes, he got the goal, and I think he's not really going to start Richarlison. I don't think Richarlison's got much left at Spurs, much time left at Spurs, and he's probably just going to be a bit part player up until then. I can see Tel starting on the left-hand side because obviously Son. And again, I think Ange has his favourites. I see Brennan Johnson starting on the right. I don't think Odobert starts because I think one, One reason, I'm not sure he's 100% fit. And the second reason, he's not the favourite of ANGE. I think he's got his clear favourites.
Or you can put Tell on the right and put Mikey Moore on the left.
I don't see Mikey Moore playing. If he's not starting Gray, he ain't starting Mikey Moore.
I know. Wishful thinking, wishful thinking.
Again, we're talking about it with logics here. We don't see the players day to day. He has had to have, some degree of change in there, but too many changes. We've seen it doesn't work. Again, it's the Thursday to Monday thing now, as opposed to Thursday to Sunday. We haven't done too well after the European game. That was a massive high to get through that game. The players have come down. They're probably thinking to themselves, I don't want to get injured here because it's a game in a week and a half's time. There's so many factors that's going to be playing in this game. It'd be so interesting to see against a team that has got a good organisation very good organisation. I think they're going to come with a clear game plan. And are we the best at breaking teams down? And even if we do break them down, we've seen that teams, if they say to themselves, let's have a go at Spurs, potentially could do that. So there's different ways that Forest could play this.
This is it. I mean, he could end up making too many changes, and we know what's happened when he's made too many changes, 6, 7 changes. Or he could stick with a majority of them and maybe just make 1 or 2 changes, which I think he might do. Because our next game, if you obviously remember, is next Sunday, and it could be the crowning of the champions because we're going to Anfield next Sunday.
Oh Lord, I forgot that was in between. Yes, of course. I thought we didn't have a game until.
It's Liverpool next Sunday, which is the champion. It's the glory day for them. So Liverpool potentially can become champions next Sunday against us. The other shout as well is Michael Green saying as well, I was looking at that. He thinks my half my team's going to be wrong, but listen, Michael, we've said this before, yeah. Ange probably doesn't like to make too many changes. I think Danso is a good shot to start today, but honestly, Van der Ven come out the other day saying that he wants to play every single game. I think Romero had one of his better games so far this season. I'd stick with them now because you know what? We've got Liverpool next week. You've got 6, 7 days break in between. You've just played on Thursday. You've had a really good game. All of them played well. I wouldn't change Van der Ven and Romero. I'd stick with them two. Now that we've got Danso back as well, I'd stick with them two. So I don't think he'll try and make too many changes. And I think deep down as well, Sam, I don't think Ange will want to probably lose at home again, to any club, let alone Nottingham Forest and Nuno coming in. So I think he does go strong with the odd 1 or 2. I might be wrong, Michael. I might be right. Who knows?
I think you're right, but what I also think is he's gonna have to be careful because we see that Forest are going to be a physical team now. I did forget about the Liverpool game being next week, and if that's the case, you ain't going to want to play too many players in that game before that Thursday game if you are going to try and rest some people. So I think you're right. I think you're going to play a strong team today, and I think the only change at that back four I think will be Spence for Porro if I was going to make that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Porro and Adogi played today as well. I think that he could go for that back five because he's got obviously that winning formula as such. The midfield three is going to be the one for me. Is he going to go with Bentancur, Bergville and Kulusevski, or does he bring Sarr in there? Yeah. Does he even give Archie Gray an opportunity? Does he give Basuma an opportunity, thinking that Basuma hasn't really done much? But then you lack creativity, which means if Kulu plays on the right because you don't want to play Johnson, I think that's going to be the area. Because Kulusevski, I think, will start. It's when Kulusevski starts on the right or Kulusevski starts as number 10.
Yeah, I agree. Ronnie's saying here that there's this team doing the rounds a lot on media, which is Kingsley, Gray, Danso, Davis, Spence, Biss, Sarr, Kulu, Tell, Richie, and Odobert. I don't think so. I don't think you would, Ronnie. I think people, Pipes reckons there's going to be 3 to 4 changes tonight, and Michael Green thinks it's going to be 6 changes.
I can't see him doing 6. I kind of agree with 3 or 4. And if I was going to make 3 or 4 changes, it'd be that one change in the defense. Yeah. Doggy stays in there. Porro comes out. The forced change with Maddison, so you're going to bring Kulusevski in there. get rid of what's it called, Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, no, say get rid of. If Kulusevski plays 10, then I think he's going to play Brennan Johnson. And then there's potential for Dominic Solanke and Tell to start. So 3 changes potentially, maybe 4, but I don't think there's many.
Not that many, yeah, exactly. Right, so now it comes up to that point. Can I have your score prediction then, please, for tonight?
Ooh.
Oh, Michael's asking, are you both still Ange out, even though he could be your best manager since Bill Nicholson? Yes.
100%, I am.
I think a lot of people are Ange out. I think a lot of people are still Ange out. And yes, if he wins the Europa League, I don't think a lot of people are going to give him the pass that you might be expecting. But win the Europa League, lose the Europa League, I still think he goes. And I think he knows that as well.
I think he knows that. I think he's now just trying to prove to himself and to others, potential suitors in terms of who's going to manage him next, that he has got something about him to manage a team at the top level. I personally think if we were to win the Europa League and be in the Champions League next season, the amount of players that we'd have to bring in, even if we could bring in the players, I just don't think it's a recipe for longevity. I don't think he's got the capabilities to play back-to-back games in terms of league games and then following that with Champions League games. Throw in other competitions of Premier League, the FA Cup and League Cup. I just don't think he's got that about him. Plus, I don't think we've got the squad. You look at the likes of Aston Villa, that's a squad. They can still be challenged up to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and still be in a shout for the top 4 this season. And look at the players that they brought on
and the after having final, FA Cup.
It's FA Cup semi-final. They run PSG as close as they could. They were able to rest players, bring in Asensio, rest Rashford, bring on a Jacob Murphy. Ollie Watkins is moaning that he's not getting Champions League games. That's what you want at a club who's challenging for a lot.
Exactly.
That's what you want. And I don't think we have that.
I think he goes, and I think he knows his days are numbered, because what's happened in the Premier League is inexcusable. And I think Pipes has just said that as well.
It is. As I said, I am going to stand by what I've said. In hindsight, had I looked at the start of the season, would I take 17th and obviously the Europa League? And at any point in my last 5 years of doing this, yes, I would take that. But it doesn't feel good. Now, when I actually, in the actual reality that could happen, I'm thinking to myself, we can't be this bad. Because any other season, West Ham are 1 point behind us. Any other season, if there was 2 other teams that weren't bloody, Southampton and Ipswich, or Southampton and Leicester, should I say, we'd be in a bag of trouble, because them teams would be closer to us, and the pressure, and obviously then, oh God. So yes,
Michael Green saying here, Angie's a trophy magnet, accepts it. If you want trophies, you got Ange. Listen, went to Villa and we got smoked off the pitch. You didn't even, we took a 1-0 lead to Anfield. We got smoked away from home, second leg. So, you know what? If he's a trophy magnet, he would have taken them seriously. Second leg of the semi-final, you 1-0 up, and then you go and get absolutely run over by them. So
we rode our luck in that Frankfurt game. Let's not think that we played them off the park and it was a totally conclusive, controlled performance. Had some of them chances fall to what's his name, Etiquette or whatever. I'd be talking a different set of circumstances here. But like I said, you can't look at that now. We got through the tie. They defended when they had to really defend. But this is going to be a different game today. It's a completely different game.
Yeah. Right. So your prediction, please. Dinosaur's gone in 2-3-2. I'm assuming 2-3 meaning Forest to win, right, Dino? I'm assuming so. What's your prediction, Sam?
I'm going 1-1. I'm thinking it's a lot to ask. Back-to-back games. Yeah. They should be confident, but one eye on the semi-final. Some of these players maybe have got something to prove, but do they think they've got something to prove because they might not get into this team? There's so many factors. Is Ange going to take this game seriously in terms of, I say seriously, is he going to go for it in terms of, the way that Forest play? Is he going to allow Forest possession? And all them factors, a draw looks like a fair result. Forest would definitely take a draw. I think a draw for us just keeps that momentum going, if that's what you can call it. A win would be ideal, but I don't know if we've got enough weapons to do that today.
You're saying 1-1. I think it'll be 2-1 either way. I mean, we could win it 2-1, and technically we could lose it 2-1. But either way, I think it'll be a 2-1 whoever gets it, I think what you just said, mate, is whoever's up for it the most. And if you're going into this game, you look at who wants it more. We're 17th, 16th. We're safe. We're not getting relegated, but we've got European semi-final in a week and a half time. They win, they go third. So for me, Nuno's looking at that, and I think to them that's a massive game. So it depends on how they take the game, and I think they'll want it more than Spurs. Yes,
yeah, they're potentially. Where because it's like I said, it's for me for Forest, it's a free hit because they're on 32 games. All the rest around them on 33, and they're still in that top 6, I believe it is, and still on a similar type points. I think it's City with 59 who are third, and then it's 57 with all the others. Yeah. So if Forest get a draw today, they're on 58. That takes them back into that top 4 or 5, I think. Yeah, and they've then got a home game to come next, which is probably more likely for them to win. So that's why I think it's a more of a tactical way that Nuno may approach this game. We just got to win if we can, but I don't see it.
Let's see. Right, Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your input. Thank you to everyone in the comment section. If you haven't already subscribed to PRTV Spurs, give it a shout. There's always stuff going on there. They'll always be on the shorts and videos. So if you haven't already, make sure you do. Follow us on our socials as well. If you're going to the game tonight, Bank Holiday Monday, enjoy the game, 8 p.m. kickoff. Hopefully it will be an entertaining game as always. And as always, what we say, if you're going to the game or not, come on you Spurs.